You meaning record company guys sit around and tell the artists, this is hot, say that, do this. We're gonna have this guy write the lyrics.
Hey, Puffy called me though. Puffy called me back in the day. He called me, he was like, I just want you to know I ain't have nothing to do with your brother's,
We've reached a breaking point. The whispers that once stayed behind closed doors are now being blasted into the open. Ice Cube, a man who has survived decades inside the most ruthless corners of the entertainment industry, has detonated a claim that threatens to rewrite everything we think we know about power and control. His message isn't just about Diddy. According to Cube, an entire system is at work, manufacturing distractions so elaborate they make conspiracy theories look harmless. This isn't a single downfall, it's an accusation against a machine that, he says, silences, manipulates, and even removes anyone who threatens it. And the most chilling part? Cube isn't alone anymore.
I don't think Ice Cube knows who the puppeteers are. He understands that there are puppeteers, and he can tell from his own experience both.
It all began with what Cube calls a fake documentary. Netflix's highly promoted Diddy expose, marketed as the ultimate takedown, is nothing more than a profit-driven illusion, Cube claims. But if the documentary is a smokescreen, what is it hiding? His implication is blunt: the real crimes, the ones that go far beyond lawsuits and tabloid headlines, are being buried under a carefully managed narrative. The beneficiaries? The same industry gatekeepers Cube says have sabotaged his Big Three basketball league and enforced a code of silence so strict that breaking it doesn't just end careers, it endangers lives. This isn't about quiet blacklisting anymore. Cube is talking about a system capable of erasing people. And he's naming names.
What's your intent with the series, with the film?
I mean, I think the intention is to give a more full-bodied experience to what happened, you know, from the people that agreed to sit down and to participate. And I feel like the film asks a lot of questions, you know, maybe more questions are asked than answers given.
The timing couldn't be more volatile. Diddy is already under the weight of federal indictments, racketeering allegations, transportation-related charges, and a growing stack of civil lawsuits from accusers who waited decades to speak. The law is finally catching up, but Cube suggests that even this is part of the script. The question isn't just whether Diddy is guilty. It's whether his prosecution is a controlled burn meant to distract from something far darker and far more entrenched. Diddy has long been linked to hip-hop's most haunting mysteries: Tupac Shakur, Biggie Smalls, silenced associates, and whispered gatherings where rules didn't apply. Now, with Keefe D's trial reopening the Shakur case and court filings alleging Diddy offered millions for hits on Tupac and Suge Knight, the layers of deception feel impossible to ignore.
3 law firms on retainer. I don't know how much money is coming in, but I know that a lot of money is going out every single month for Diddy.
Cube's warnings aren't new, but they've never sounded this urgent. For years, he's spoken about invisible power brokers who decide who gets elevated and who gets erased. In 2022, he vowed to expose them during his F the Gatekeepers podcast tour, framing his struggles with Big Three as retaliation for defiance. This time, the stakes are higher. If Diddy is just one piece of a larger machine, then the Netflix documentary isn't harmless, it's a weapon. A way to funnel outrage toward a single man while preserving the system itself. Others see it too. Al B. Assure, singer and former partner of Kim Porter, has publicly demanded a deeper investigation into Porter's 2018 death, calling it an assassination linked to an alleged memoir filled with explosive details. Her children deny its authenticity, but the timing, her death, the manuscript, and Cassie Ventura's allegations raises uncomfortable questions.
The man put a lot of out there himself. So whether it's true or it's a lie, he got to answer for that. And whatever his explanation is, we're going to see. But he said.
Then there's the Big Three itself. Cube has repeatedly accused the NBA of trying to crush his league, pressuring sponsors, blocking media access, and quietly freezing it out. If that's how the system handles competition in sports, imagine how it behaves when reputations, fortunes, and lives are on the line. Diddy's legal troubles may be the surface story, but underneath lies a network of protection that allegedly shielded him for decades while others paid the price. A network that, according to Keefe D's statements, may have financed one of hip-hop's darkest chapters. If Cube is right, the documentary isn't exposure, it's a decoy.
Keefe D said he told Rat James that, look, it's big money in this. Only thing Puffy want to do is pay $1 million to have both of them. He told me that.
Here's where it gets even more disturbing. Cube isn't portraying Diddy as the mastermind, he's portraying him as a symptom. a high-profile figure operating inside something much larger. It's easy to dismiss talk of secret societies and shadow networks until you examine the patterns. Careers that collapse overnight. Lawsuits that evaporate. Names that never face consequences no matter how damning the evidence. And then there's Kim Porter, alleged recordings, a rumored flash drive, a manuscript that may or may not exist, and a death that still raises questions. Al B. Sure claims she was silenced before publishing, that her devices disappeared, and that key figures were never scrutinized. If true, this isn't a one-off, it's a method. Tupac dies in 1996. Biggie follows months later. Diddy survives, thrives, and builds an empire. Coincidence or calculation?
I believe him because he wasn't talking just to be talking. I felt he was also coming straight because there was a big war behind that. A war that they lost. And I think it was a war that destroyed their neighborhood.
What makes Cube's claims explosive is the context. Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. Federal indictments. Former insiders suddenly speaking. Public skepticism from figures like 50 Cent and Ice Cube himself. And looming over it all, the Netflix documentary Cube calls fraudulent. If it's truly a controlled narrative, then what was left on the cutting room floor? What stories were deemed too dangerous to tell? Because one thing is clear, the version being sold to the public doesn't add up. And those who try to fill in the gaps have a troubling habit of disappearing.
On a documentary, I think a lot of people thought that he was just joking around. It turns out he's not. So this is actually a real project that's being made under his G-Unit movie and TV.
Take Chris Todd, the man behind Kim's Lost Words, the disputed memoir that shook the industry before Porter's children shut it down. Todd claims the manuscript came from a source deep inside Diddy's circle, someone who allegedly possessed tapes of Diddy with powerful figures in compromising situations. Those tapes have never surfaced. Todd himself is controversial, known for inserting himself into unsolved cases. But the memoir allegedly included eerie messages and predictions of Porter's death. If she truly believed she was in danger, then her passing wasn't just tragic, it was a warning. From Al B. Sure. As social media pleased to Cube's public crusade, the message is consistent. The system protects itself at all costs, even if that means rewriting history.
Yeah, I think it was surprising that he actually filmed it.
Yeah, and I want to ask about that because how did you go about getting the footage? And do you know the intent of the videographer, why he or this person took the footage?
She's a journalist, right?
Yeah.
So she's not going to reveal her sources, so you don't have to reveal that.
Yeah.
So where does that leave us? With Diddy in federal custody. A documentary on the way. And a growing chorus insisting we're not being shown the full picture. Supporters claim Diddy is being targeted. Critics say justice is overdue. But Cube's accusations force a broader question: who protected him, who still is, and what happens to those who challenge that protection? Because this story is bigger than one man, one film, or one courtroom. It's about power, who holds it, how it's wielded, and how brutally it's defended.
Very ominous signs for him, although interestingly, we haven't seen the indictments yet. There's been some time lag. I suppose it will take some time to go through all the forensic.
Follow the money. Ciroc didn't just make Diddy rich, it made him untouchable. Diageo's rare 50-50 profit split wasn't standard business, it was a shield. When allegations surfaced, the partnership didn't end, it was renewed. Again and again. That's not loyalty. That's insurance. Then there's politics. Diddy hosted fundraisers for Hillary Clinton, mingled with Donald Trump's inner circle, and moved comfortably across party lines. Yet when indictments dropped, the silence from political elites was deafening. No distancing. No outrage. That's how the machine works: absorb the hit, protect the structure.
You understand? I think that they don't want, if they was in any of those freak-off tapes, if they played a part in any of those Diddy sessions, they don't want it to get out to the general public to make up their brand.
The Big Three becomes a case study in defiance. Cube refused to play along and paid the price. But he's still standing. Others weren't so lucky. Tupac's death. Biggie's death. According to Keefe D., money flowed from someone terrified of Tupac's influence, someone with resources and reach. Afterward, the tragedies weren't just mourned. They were monetized. Albums sold. Legacies packaged. The system didn't just survive, it profited.
And good thing he didn't, because even though we was friends, but if a motherfucker pays you, I got a bullet into my skull. And one of the best friends I had ever had in life is Pac.
Cassie Ventura's lawsuit showed how dissent is handled: settle quietly, then unleash smears. And she's not the first. The difference now? The cracks are showing. Cube's refusal to stay silent signals a shift. Social media has weakened the old controls. Public appetite for truth is growing. Diddy's indictments are a stress test, not just for him, but for the entire structure around him. So the real question isn't whether Diddy falls. It's who falls with him. Will the truth about the gatekeepers ever fully surface? Or will this be another unfinished story? Drop your thoughts below. Like, subscribe, and stay alert, because the game is changing, and the people who've controlled it for decades are getting nervous.